Hi. It's so good to read the comments on this channel. I just finished recording a video upload. I was like, let me check out some of the comments. First off, a big thank you to a lot of you out there that have taken the time to just say how much this channel has helped you along your journey. It makes me feel warm. I love helping people. You probably get that feel as you're hearing me talk. But I appreciate it. But I also see a whole bunch of comments on there as well of challenges that people are encountering, and I wish I could reply to all of them. But that's where I get the ideas for these videos. So here's one. I see a lot of comments of like, I've been denied. What do I do? So first off, big question there. And you probably get the feel, there's no script I write for these videos. So I may weave and hopefully you just hang with me. I'll come back to it, right? So as a big picture perspective, as organizations get bigger, they become tighter on the rules and bureaucratics, right? Like for instance, if you go to try and apply for a job at say Intel, right? And in the job description, it says college degree is required, right? That's going to happen. Like there's no, like if you go to Intel and you're like, oh, you know, I've got the experience, but I don't have a job. They're going to be like, sorry, dude. Like we have to follow what's in there. Whereas you go to a smaller company and they say college degree required. They're like, well, we like you. You make me laugh. Come on in. It's fine. It's fine. We'll just like, right? It gets very squishy. Well, the government is the ultimate bureaucratic giant organization. I've worked with government programs a lot, and they are rule followers, right? So when you get denied, it's because you violated, in their mind, some rule. There's a lot of challenges with that. So, but I'm going to kind of build like, okay, what do I do? Let me answer that as I go through and explain what I do, because that's all I can do. Because I've been denied a lot of times, and I've gotten it reversed a lot of times, and I've gotten to the point where I'm like, and I'm not going to win that one, right? So first off, what do I do? First off, and this is not meant to be insulting. I've just seen this a lot. Open the email, right? When you get denied, open the email. A lot of people just see denied, and they're like, oh, done. I've been denied. Dumb. That was so dumb, right? Like just open the email. They're going to explain why you've been denied. Because I'm going to bleed into the second reason. There's a lot of confusion around this program. I'm going to take you right now to your Bible for ESA funding. It is the ESA Parent Handbook. And there's a ton of confusion around this section, which is, hey, we realize you need these things to do education, and there's no curriculum that's going to say you need to buy a backpack for your student, right? You know that you need a backpack to carry your books if you're going to, you know, whatever the case is. Well, the Arizona Department of Education came in and they're like, no, you need to have a curriculum so I made a whole other video on that, right? But when that sort of thing happened, and let me just make sure I'm clear in case you didn't know this, the Arizona Department of Education said this whole section is gone. Like we no longer recognize that you need dictionaries or backpacks or compasses or anything like all of that is denied. You have to have a curriculum that says you need those things, and that's as homeschoolers, one of the beauties is you can create your own curriculum. They recognize that homeschoolers create their own education. I created a whole other video on that, right? And how to create a curriculum that includes a lot of these things in there, right? But when you're a rule follower and the rules say these things are allowed, but they're not allowed, but they're sort of allowed, it adds to a whole bunch of confusion. So first thing I want to say is when you get denied, because you will at some point on this journey, open the email. It will state in there why they're believing they're denied. Second thing, ESA people are people too. They want to be rule followers, but there's a lot of subjectivity. Like you may find an ESA person who's like, yeah, I get it. Backpack. I know there's no section that you can select anymore for getting a backpack, but I get it. You're buying. Okay, that's fine. Whereas you'll get some personalities at ESA, they're like, no, you did not follow the rule. You selected textbook for secondary education. That is the wrong category. Denied, right? And so sometimes you just resubmit it, and it'll go through the second time or the third time. And I've done that, right? Third thing, when you get denied, at least right now, they often will put the email address, direct email address of the person at ESA that denied you. Emailing that person directly, now this may change because I'm like, wow, that's, but I have found when I email that person directly, I get a much faster response than if I open a ticket or try to call the number and they're like, your wait time is 5 hours and 32 minutes, right? Like I'm like, so far I've gotten some very fast response. And when you email that person, be kind. I know when it's like, just the word denied is like, grr, right? But you know, Hannah, I'm just making up a name. Hannah is a person too, right? She just has a job, and her job is to try and figure out, are we following the rules, right? So I don't know, what am I at? Fourth thing. When you get denied, also realize that sometimes that's just going to happen. I'm going to give you a very practical example, and also you have to start by telling yourself the truth, right? Sometimes we try to stretch things that may not quite be ESA. And I'm going to give you an example of this. So I live in Arizona, as all of you do, because we're all in Arizona ESA program, right? It's hot. It's hot. Half the year is just hot all the time. And our kids do a lot of sports. Well, we didn't have lights for our basketball court. And I'm like, well, school gymnasiums have lights. Even their outdoor courts have lights. Schools have lights. I'm a homeschooler. Why can't I have lights? So I went, now this is Jeremy being Jeremy, right? I went out and bought lights for the court, and I submitted those lights to ESA under a basketball curriculum. Denied, right? Now, I had to tell myself the truth, and I told my wife the truth as well. I'm like, I hope this goes through, but it's a stretch, right? Like, and what did they reply? I opened the email, and they brought up a whole section I didn't even realize was there. I'm like, did this get added? But take a look. On the parent handbook, if you scroll down to page 38, they have a disallowed expenses. Now, I remember this from when I saw it before, but this whole section, at least to me, either I didn't see it or the Arizona Department of Education added this afterwards. And so the person who denied me for my basketball lights said, you qualify as that. Your basketball lights are considered a home furnishing and fixture. Now, at that point, you and I have a decision to make. Is this worth fighting for? Like, could I have gone back and be like, look, schools have gymnasiums. It's a health challenge, mental health. Like, do I start using words, to try and and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that, because I also know that we all have profiles at the ESA program, right? All of the things that we send in goes under a comment. And if we're seen as that parent that's like submitting like a automobile or something like that, I use that in another video, or something and fighting every single, like, people are gonna be like, it's just that guy. You become just the annoying person there, like deny him again, right? So choose your battles wisely, but also realize that there's a ton of subjectivity. Like I gave you the example in another video on here. One of my kids is into farming, and so we created a farming curriculum. Like, okay, we're going to buy books about farming, we're going to buy seeds, we're going to buy soil and planters and chicken coop. And when they made me aware of this thing, I was like, oh my goodness! I told my wife, I was like, look at this. They have large chicken coops as things that are explicitly disallowed by this. And I'm like, as I was staring at her, I was like, what do they mean by large, right? But that, honestly, if I bought a chicken coop, which we have a chicken coop, right? If I bought a chicken coop and it got denied, I'd be like, guys, it says large chicken coops. And I would include some links. Like, my friend, I've seen some large chicken coops. And when I have a little, 10 chicken coop, 10 chicken, right? So it's nothing compared to some of it. So if that, now that didn't happen, but if that happened to me and I was denied my chicken coop, I'd be like, I would reply and I'd say, here's some examples of large chicken coops. That is how I interpret large, right? And this is why things become bureaucratic. I guarantee you, because they're rewriting, by the way, this for the next year. The next time it comes out, it's going to say large is defined by so many feet, by so many feet, by so many feet, right? It's going to clarify this is what large is. A large appliance, you're going to be like, well, here's what is defined as a large appliance. And this is why government programs become so dumb, is because, again, if it was a small program, you're like, okay, yeah, you can't buy a power generator for your house that takes up the size of your garage. That's absurd. That's a large appliance. Whereas if you buy a Sally Chef stove to teach your kid how to bake, okay, that's not right. The subjectivity works. but you're going to see this become more and more and more like a government program, more and more defined in what's there. So that being said, let me summarize if I can even remember what I said. 1, open the email. 2, email the person directly while they still have the email address in there. My guess is they'll eventually remove the direct email to the person who's denying you. You have much faster success that way than just opening another ticket, right? 3, choose your battles wisely, knowing which ones you're like, I'm kind of twisting the rules on this, and I'm not saying we're being deceptive. I'm just like, you get it, right? There's some things that you're like, okay, a school has this, so I should have this too, and that only goes so far. And 4, always come back to what's in the parent handbook. This is the best rules we have right now. And so recognize when things in here are subjective, like large, versus objective, like 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot, right? Good. So hopefully that helps you as you run into these. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of comments. Please leave these comments. I'd love to refine this and help answer your questions even more. All right. Thanks. Bye.